About a quarter of the Hannah Swensen books are recipes. This book has more recipes than normal. The last chapter gets 9 recipes instead of the usual 1. It's almost like the book was a chapter short, so the author threw in a bunch of recipes to make up the difference. And here I expected the final chapter to have a lot of plot resolution. Silly me. Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review. This review is commissioned through Patreon. Mother has a minor mystery. Her business partner Carrie's acting oddly. Carrie cancels all of her plans and refuses to say why. Mother can't trust her best friend, so she wants Hannah to figure out what's going on. This is pretty rich coming from Mother, considering she spent 2 books keeping her romance novel a secret. I'm still disappointed we never got to read that romance novel, by the way. Mother forces Hannah to attend a small business class with her. Hannah is shocked to see a familiar man, Bradford Ramsey. She's embarrassed to be around him, and she feels terrible when he doesn't recognize her. Disappointingly, the book doesn't explain who Bradford is. The author assumes you remember him from when he was mentioned in a previous book, so she doesn't bother to reintroduce him. Seriously? This book spends 2 pages talking about different types of crackers or Christmas tree stands, but it can't even spare a sentence to tell us who Bradford is? Bradford is the only man Hannah has had sex with. He was her professor, or maybe her teaching assistant? The affair ended when she learned he was married, or was he engaged? I can't remember! I don't remember the details because he hasn't been mentioned in several books. This is why there should have been a recap. Bradford gets mentioned every 100 pages or so, but Hannah never talks to him. It's kind of a waste of a storyline. I can only assume they're setting him up to be a big character in the next book, because he's pretty much nothing in this one. The business class is taught by Miss Whiting. Her homework is to go through finance records and figure out a money-making scam. Hannah and Norman make food together. We get the recipe. They talk for a bit and make dessert. We get the recipe. Mike shows up. Hannah makes him a meatloaf sandwich. I'm shocked we don't get that recipe. Hannah's sister Andrea needs a Christmas tree. They all go to the Christmas tree lot, run by today's victim, Larry Jaeger. It's a pretty fancy lot with all sorts of amusement park rides and at least 3 stores. A sign on the lot says, "We sell below cost and make it up on volume." Hannah is so shocked at the sheer audacity of that sign, she starts to sputter incoherently. Mike is also horrified and decides a police investigation is in order. Jeez, it's just a sign. Talk about overreacting. They confront Larry, who's watching the Minnesota Vikings play the Louisiana... Wait, Louisiana doesn't have an NFL team. Hannah figures it could be Los Angeles, but they didn't have a football team when this book was published. Did no one bother to check the football stuff? Larry confirms his joke sign is a joke. He orders 36 dozen cookies from Hannah's store, along with some plum pudding. Larry's home has no Christmas decorations. Larry says that's because he's around Christmas things all the time at work. Mike notes this is a good argument for cheating on your wife. What? Mike, what is wrong with you? Even if that's what you think, there's no good reason to tell your girlfriend you like cheating on her. Hannah's friends buy her a Christmas tree, which prompts the mandatory cat subplot. Her cat knocks over the tree and destroys all the antique ornaments. This is partly Hannah's fault. She should have taken down all the remaining ornaments after her cat destroyed the first few ones. They solve the problem by hanging the Christmas tree upside down from the ceiling, which is obviously easier than trying to train a cat to behave. Norman and Hannah confirm that Carrie's hiding something. She tells Hannah she's playing bridge, and 1 minute later, she tells Norman she's going to the movies. I'm not sure why Carrie used 2 different fake stories back to back. That was a dumb move on her part. For a few chapters, there's a big focus on Larry's finances. Larry's secretly stealing money from his Christmas tree lot. He buys toys for $10. On his records, he says they were $16, and he keeps the extra $6 for himself. Larry gets away with this scheme because he pays in cash and he never fills out receipts all the way. He asks people to sign the unfinished receipts, promising he'll fill them out later. I'm no business expert, but even I know receipts don't work that way. The seller is the one who gives receipts, not the buyer. That's common knowledge, right? If you buy stuff at the store, you get a receipt. It's not the case that you buy stuff at the store and you write the store a receipt. No. So the book gets receipts backwards. They think Larry writes receipts whenever he buys things. Other than that, the business scam does make sense. Hannah and Norman go to Larry's to pick up a check. Come to think of it, I don't know why Larry pays Hannah by check when he's running a scam that depends on cash payments. He's sabotaging his own scam. Well, I guess he did that in this case, because the book needs an excuse for Hannah to enter Larry's house and discover he was murdered. Larry was watching a college basketball game when he was killed. The culprit shot the TV. Mike jokes the culprit didn't like how the Knicks were playing. The Knicks are not a college basketball team. This is the second professional sports mistake of the book. As always, tons of people visit the cookie store to hear Lisa's grisly rendition of the crime. I'm sure there's a fan theory that Hannah's secretly a serial killer who murders people to help her business. That is a bit more likely than Hannah accidentally finding 12 different corpses. Hannah and Norman discover that Carrie's dating a man with suede boots. They eventually realize it's Earl Flensburg. I know Earl has been in previous books, but I don't remember who he is. Is he the tow truck guy? Could we get a recap for Earl and Bradford? Earl wants to marry Carrie, and Norman's surprisingly okay with this. You want to marry my mom after lying to me for weeks? Okay, sure, that sounds like a good idea. Hannah goes to the bank, where she learns Larry has a secret bank account. In real life, banks aren't allowed to give out private information about their clients like that. The account has $250,000 inside. How on earth did Larry make that much money in under 2 months? He's only stealing $6 per toy and $20 per tree. Unless he's stealing $2,000 for every cookie, he should not have that much money in secret profit. Chapter 24 starts with bad math. Hannah wakes up at 3:47, which is 8 minutes before 4 a.m. No, 3:47 is 13 minutes before 4. How did the proofreader not notice this obvious error? Norman discovers Larry ran a similar scam with a TV business. Larry's partner, Salvatore Bianco, killed himself when it was revealed. This just happens to be the same business from Miss Whiting's homework. When Norman questions her about it, she flirts heavily with him right in front of Hannah. Oh my. I've noticed that when women flirt with Mike, there is major drama, but when women flirt with Norman, it's just a joke. I think the books are implying no woman would flirt with Norman for real. Poor Norman. Michelle is in a musical production. The program says the Italian word for white is Bianco. This causes Hannah to solve the mystery. Since Bianco means white, Miss Whiting must be Bianco's daughter. She killed Larry for revenge over what happened to her father. But since wordplay doesn't count as solid proof, Hannah decides to check the license plate on Miss Whiting's car. They will show Whiting and Bianco are from the same state. That's not proof of murder either, Hannah. Miss Whiting is at her car. Instead of playing it cool, like a normal person, Hannah makes a big deal out of checking Whiting's license plates. Whiting realizes she's been caught, and she tries to shoot Hannah multiple times. Hannah escapes on a snow saucer and hides behind trees. Hannah reflects that Mike always comes out of nowhere and saves her whenever this happens. Sure enough, he does! Mike shows up out of nowhere and kills Miss Whiting. Is this the first time he's killed a culprit? Usually he just knocks them unconscious or arrests them. We skip ahead to Christmas Eve, where the family eats a ton of food. Michelle brings a college friend with her. It's Bradford Ramsey. What? Is the book implying Bradford has been intimate with two Swensen sisters? Excuse me, I need to go throw up now. The end. Postbook follow-up. The book's jacket is weird. It says a shadow is hanging over a Christmas wedding. What? There's no wedding in this book. The jacket also lists the daughter of Larry's ex-partner as a suspect. You could argue that spoils the culprit's identity because readers will be on the lookout for this character. Only one person fits the bill. I was able to figure out the culprit's identity after the flirting scene with Norman. It's pretty easy to guess the culprit's identity in this series. 9 times out of 10, it's the new character who was introduced in this book, not one of the regular characters that Hannah has known for years. At least 3 times in this book, someone is complimented for being good at conversations. Like Mother compliments Hannah for dodging her question, Norman compliments Hannah for not using the word boyfriend. I thought that was weird and unrealistic. In real life, if someone's being evasive, you don't compliment them for it. Hannah's so evasive because people keep asking her to do things she doesn't want to do. Hannah seems unaware of the fact that you can say no when someone asks you to do something. This has happened in many other books. She promises to do her mom or her sister a favor, then she gets upset when the favor's something awful, like dress up in a humiliating costume or go to a rock concert. Yeah, high school Hannah hated concerts, and she's still holding a grudge against her sister over that. Another conversation that confused me is when the mayor says he should get cookies for his wife. Hannah thinks he's trying to abuse his position as mayor to get free cookies. I don't know how she came to that conclusion. She knows it's wrong, but she gives him free cookies anyway. I wish Hannah wouldn't let the men in her life treat her so badly. That includes Mike. Just like last book, he wakes Hannah up at midnight because he wants her to make him some food. He knows she has to get up at 4 a.m., but he doesn't care. He wants to have a second dessert tonight. Yeah, he already had one dessert, but he didn't like it much, so he's forcing Hannah to make him a second one. Hannah should slam the door in Mike's face instead of letting him walk all over her. Overall, this was a decent entry in the series. I don't like how you have to read over half the book before the murder mystery starts, but that's definitely standard for this series by now. I mentioned 4 mistakes with the sports teams, the clock timer, and the victim's receipts scam. I think the book could have used another rewrite, if only to smooth out those mistakes. I give Hannah Swensen number 12, Plum Pudding Murder, a 6.5 out of 10.